It's your boy Mikey Hot Takes, serving up hot takes like they're hot cakes, and we're back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about the New York Football Giants. I watched yesterday their final preseason game where a lot of starters played against New England Patriots. They lost 22-20, but we really don't care about the result of the game as we do in most preseason. Like, I don't care if they lost 199, 1-0. It's more about the player performances and what you see out there on the field. And last night was really the only game we have anything to go on this preseason for the Giants, because a lot of to this point, like a lot of teams in the NFL, we haven't been really seeing first-team units, first-team players, starters in a lot of positions, quarterbacks, all over the place. Last night was the first game we saw Daniel Jones play. I thought he looked pretty good. Obviously, he had that horrific interception where that's kind of been the microcosm of Daniel Jones' career so far. He moves the ball really well, in my opinion, between the 20s. And then once you get in that red zone, he's liable to make a bad play or also not make a play in the red zone. And the offense kind of stalls. This team kind of relies on long drives, which is going to be a huge issue for them. They need to start moving chunk plays. They need big plays down the field, whether that be in the run game, passing game, however they can get it. They need to be getting explosive plays. And, we haven't seen that for them last year. And part of that goes to the guy over my right shoulder, Jason Garrett. The other part of it goes to Daniel Jones. Now, while I don't believe, listen, this channel, I'm a Daniel Jones guy. I believe in him. I think he's a prospect. I think he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Not great, nothing, I'm not saying the guy's going to be an elite, but why can't this guy turn into be like a Ryan Tannehill type down the line? I think he's got all the tools to be a good starting NFL quarterback. The problem with the Giants to this point, and if you're a Giant fan, you know this has been the problem for at least 4 to 5 years, since late Eli Manning, early Jones. It can't block. They cannot block to save their lives, and especially in pass protection. If you watched last night, Andrew Thomas, who by the way was the 4th overall pick in last year's draft, and Matt Pear and Nate Solder were playing on the tackle positions. They were just getting beat. They were just getting beat every play to the point where Jones has no time and he has to go drop back and dump it off 4 yards and all this. He had like I saw Jones had like 5.9 yards per attempt last night. And I can't believe that a guy with Jones' ability to throw the ball down the field, when you watch Daniel Jones throw the ball down the field, it's usually accurate. It's usually on time. The problem is when he doesn't have that time and these stick routes, these 5-yard curl routes that the Giants run, that Jason Garrett calls, and it has to be, where I don't know if that's because of the lack of blocking or because they don't trust Jones to throw it down the field. It has to be, in my opinion, they don't have any confidence in this offensive line. Earlier today, if you're watching this, it's Monday, August 30th, the New York Giants traded B.J. Hill for Billy Price, a guard center type from the Cincinnati Bengals. In my opinion, I think this is probably we need to get an offensive lineman in here with some NFL reps under his belt. But at the same time, why would the Cincinnati Bengals be trading a good offensive lineman at this point in their season? I think they had the worst offensive line in football last year, if I'm not mistaken, right behind the Giants. But still, why are they trading a good offensive lineman if they expect anything from him? I don't think this guy Billy Price will be anything special, but we'll see. At the end of the day, the Giants need to pass protect. I don't care if you have Mahomes out there. Everyone will reference the Super Bowl last year where Mahomes was running for his life. Obviously, Daniel Jones isn't Patrick Mahomes. He's not Michael Vick. He's not going to run for his life. He needs time to be able to read the field and deliver balls on time. I do not have any trust or faith in Jason Garrett to be able to get this offense going. And then, like I said again, it starts with the talent at the offensive line. And let me begin by saying this. I've been a Dave Gettleman supporter, apologist, whatever you want to call me. I've supported a lot of the moves Dave Gettleman has made since becoming Giants GM. The one I'm most upset about and worried about to this point has to be Andrew Thomas being the first tackle taken last year. I mean, I will never pretend to know the techniques and the different ways to evaluate offensive line prospects. I'm not that guy, especially when it comes to offensive line in the NFL. I'm not going to be able to tell you, if the guy's opening his hips, if his hand placement is well, if his arm length is good. I don't care about that stuff. I rely on the scouts. So if Dave Gettleman thought Andrew Thomas was the best tackle last year, then I had no problem. Take the guy. That's a position of need. Great pick, right? No. Last year, you go back, it was considered a great tackle class. They had Jedrick Wills, who went to the Cleveland Browns, Tristan Wirfs to the Buccaneers, Mekhi Becton to the New York Jets. those guys have all worked out to a degree. Those guys have all established themselves. They're on an upward trajectory. They pull their own weight already as second-year players in the NFL from the offensive line. Andrew Thomas, to me, already is the biggest question mark and worry on this entire football team, and we're in preseason game 3, or I would consider it the only game that matters in the preseason because starters played. If I'm this worried about Andrew Thomas against the Patriots in preseason last night, he was getting beat regularly. What is he going to do week 1 against Von Miller and Bradley Chubb? What is Andrew Thomas going to do against that level of pass rush in a game that actually matters? Because, to be honest with you, I'm looking at that like it's the worst pick in day. I tweeted this out. I think this is the worst Andrew Thomas pick. It has potential to be the move that gets Dave Gettleman fired. Because, listen, quarterback is not easy to find. People will argue with me until they're blue in the face that you don't take running back number 2 overall, say when they took Saquon. Whatever. We can argue about that till we're blue in the face. I think, Saquon Barkley is an elite talent. You're willing to make, throw value to the side if you can possibly get a Hall of Fame talent. With Daniel Jones, they evaluated the quarterback class. They saw who they liked. They took him. All right, quarterback is the hardest position in the sport to get right. So yeah, maybe Jones wasn't the best pick at 6, whatever. We could debate that still, but I don't care. I don't think that's the pick that has Dave Gettleman under the microscope. Andrew Thomas is the pick that worries me. There was 3 other tackles on the board that have produced better, that would look a lot better on this team right now. Let's not get it twisted. If I had Mekhi Becton on the Giants right now, if I had Tristan Wirfs on the Giants right now, who went much later, I mean, they would be almost set on the offense, like literally almost set. There would be very few question marks on the starting units, especially on offense and defense, of course, but there would be very little questions if they took a star tackle at 4 last year. Right now, what they have at tackle is a question mark. So I really, really need to see better play from Andrew Thomas. And the other side is going to be a lost cause too. I mean, Nate Solder and Matt Parrott are the other options at the other side of the tackle. So I don't know. I don't think this team will be able to block again. And it's really going to be about, how everyone says, oh, it's all about Daniel Jones. All the pressure's on Daniel Jones. Yeah, it is, because that's what it is at quarterback. No matter what, I don't care if you don't even have anybody blocking for you. They will still criticize you at quarterback if you miss throws, if you make bad decisions. You're still going to get criticized. But I don't know if he has a fighting chance if Andrew Thomas, the number 4 overall pick in the draft, is a turnstile. Like, that's a whiff. If that's the pick that gets Dave Gettleman fired, then I'll have to live with that, because there was 3 other tackles on the board, and what we saw last night from him wasn't good enough. It's preseason. People will say to me, they didn't have all their star receivers on the field. They were just showing like a shell of their plays. They weren't running everything. Listen, this is the big point I have to make with this video. The New York Football Giants, especially offensively, do not have the cachet and credit stored in the bank to be able to take preseason lightly and not care about it. All right, so last night was really the only dress rehearsal most of the starters got on offense, okay? And it didn't look good. It looked similar to last year. Obviously, you saw Jones make that was a beautiful throw to Caden Smith for the touchdown at the end of the first half. But after that, I mean, we don't care about what Glennon does in the second unit, but I mean, we care to a degree, but we're not worried about it in the preseason. That's what it's there for. But why do I feel like this team is almost acting like they have won something, or they're okay? They don't want to. Like, the Giants shouldn't be treating anything like a rehearsal. They should be treating, especially on offense, they should be treating the preseason like regular season on offense. And the fact that Daniel Jones' first game that he played this whole preseason was last night, and then the next game he'll play is the first game of the regular season. To me, you're acting like this guy is Tom Brady. You're acting like this guy is Drew Brees or something like that, who's been in the league for 10 years and is a veteran and is going to start no matter what and knows the offense. No, get this guy out there. Let him make his mistakes in the preseason. Because now he's gonna face Bradley Chubb and Von Miller week 1. He's just now getting hit. Last night was the first night he's been hit. Obviously, quarterbacks don't get hit in camp. So last night was Jones' first taste of live action. And to me, I thought he looked good other than that one horrific pick, which he can't have. I mean, those picks are the ones that are going to define his season. If he makes those terrible throws in the red zone, no one's going to care how accurate he is between the 20s before that. It's about getting the ball in the end zone. That's what the Giants struggled to do all year last year. They struggled to do it last night. And I blame the blocking, first and foremost, especially at the tackle positions. If Andrew Thomas and Matt Parrott or Nate Solder, I don't really care who it is, does not perform at least at the league average level, the Giants are in big trouble. Big trouble. because Jones does not have the mobility, or he's not, Patrick Mahomes type of shiftiness and awareness, pocket awareness, to the point where he's going to be able to evade Von Miller in the backfield every play. It's just not going to happen. And most quarterbacks are not dealing with that. So unless they're able to pass protect, I don't see them going anywhere. I think this is close to a 500 now that there's 17 games, 9-8, 8-7 ball club, 8-9, excuse me. So I don't know where the Giants will go from here, but I do believe in Daniel Jones individually. I don't know if he'll be able to hold up in this offensive line with this offensive coordinator. Jason Garrett, to me, is the biggest liability on the entire staff, on the entire team. He has no track record of being able to run an elite offense. To me, the Cowboys had 5 Pro Bowl offensive linemen, and they had a top 5 running back. And that's what Jason Garrett's resume is, having that just drafted first round lineman for 5 years in a row, and then having Zeke Elliott. That's not an offense. I really think anybody with who has played Madden can run an offense with 5 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line. What are you going to do to scheme the fact that Matt Parrott and Andrew Thomas can't block? Or if they can block, what are you going to do to run the plays that allow Daniel Jones to look down the field and make throws down the field? Because it's clear to me that this offense is set up to get the ball out of his hands very quickly. And I don't know if that's really what Daniel Jones' strength is. I think he's more of a reader, pocket passer, sit in the pocket and deliver the ball down the field. And if he doesn't have any time to do that, it's not going to work. And we're going to see the fumbles and the mistakes that we've seen from Jones in the past. So I feel like it's year 757 talking about the Giants' offensive line not being good enough. Every single year they do make minor adjustments. And this is probably my final year. Listen, if Dave Gettleman didn't fix this offensive line, you can blame the coaching staff too. They got 25 offensive line coaches or whatever it is. Freddie Kitchens, Rob Sale, all these other guys. I don't care what they have to do. Just set this quarterback up to the point where if he's making bad throw after bad throw, we know it's his fault. That's all I want to know. I want to know for a fact that this season is Daniel Jones' fault, and I don't want to be asking the question, what if we had just taken Mekhi Becton or Tristan Wirfs? Would Daniel Jones be a top 13 quarterback? These questions can't be asked at the end of the season. We need all the answers now. And if Daniel Jones is under pressure, gets hurt, something like that because of bad blocking, then we're not going to learn anything. And we may have to make another bad decision next year, whether that be letting Jones go and maybe he turns it on for another team, or we keep him and he's not good enough because we don't know and we believe that the offensive line was the issue. So really, honestly, you could tell I'm worried about this Giants offensive line. I think the defense is stacked. I think it's going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think it'll be a top 5 to 7 defense in the NFL. Take me for, call me crazy, say whatever you want to say. The secondary to me is elite. I love their depth on defense. I think they have a winning defense. I don't think that's going to be an issue. It's going to be scoring points, and we'll see if they can do that. We haven't seen Saquon Barkley play this preseason, nor should we. To me, that's the only guy that I, condone not suiting up in the preseason. He's had enough injury issues. He doesn't need to be hurt in a game that doesn't matter. So I'm fine with Barkley sitting out. But everyone else sitting out, it's go time week 1. I don't want to hear this, it's early in the season, blah, blah, blah. You're playing Denver week 1. It's a winnable game against Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, whoever the hell is playing quarterback for Denver. I don't need excuses, and I want to see points. I want to see points. Let's be honest. As Giant fans, we've been deprived of points for too long. Going back to I would say even before Ben McAdoo, we weren't. I would say year 1 of Ben McAdoo was the last year where we really scored points. Year 2 of McAdoo was where they made the playoffs. Was wasn't that the OBJ year where he just kind of caught one pass a game and the Giants eked out victories and they bought a whole defense? Whatever. All right. They need to score points. They need to block better. I think the weapons are there. The skill positions are stacked. You wouldn't have an issue with any team would be fine with these skill positions. I think the quarterback has more potential than people are willing to admit. But what I need to see is consistency and that throw that Jones made last night. That's really the only thing. Those one decision that he usually makes, one decision a game that changes his whole perception, changes everyone's perception on him. Because 95% of the game, if you watch Daniel Jones, you're this guy's actually doing the most he can out here. And then he has that one play where it just looks like me at Pee Wee football, just doing something crazy or fumbling or trying something, stumbling on the line, making a bad throw in the red zone, all this other stuff. He just needs to cut out that 5% of sloppiness, and I think he's going to be a really good player. They need to block. Saquon Barkley needs to come back and perform. But yeah, I'm expecting 8 or 9 wins from this team this year. A lot of people are saying 10 wins or bust, make the playoffs, all that stuff. Yeah, obviously I want to make the playoffs. I expect them to be a lot better. But really for me, it's baby steps, and to get this offense watchable is the next step. Maintain that same defensive intensity and that same defensive production that you had last year under Patrick Graham. But you need to up that offensive tempo, the scoring, the explosiveness, and that all starts with these two guys. And to me, I have more worries about Jason Garrett than I do Daniel Jones. I think Jason Garrett, if this doesn't go well in the first 3 to 4 weeks and the offense is still putrid, not putting up points, I really expect Jason Garrett to be fired very early in the season. I think he's going to be the first domino to fall if the Giants collapse this year. But anyway, let's hope that doesn't happen. I'm going to try to stay positive. Like I said, this defense is stacked. I love everybody on this defense. I like how deep they are in the secondary for a change. They have corners and safeties who can play corner and guys who can line up in a nickel and all this other stuff. So I really like the way the defense is set up. And of course, Patrick Graham, I think, is going to get a head coaching job in the next 2 seasons. So I think he's a great coordinator. So the only questions are on offense. That's really it. Can they score points? Can they move the ball? Can they get explosive plays down the field? You'd expect that with Kadarius Toney, Kenny Golladay, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, all these guys. You'd expect them to be able to move the ball down the field. The question mark is, can they block? And will Daniel Jones be able to shave off that one mistake a game that really sets the offense back, sets the game back, puts them behind the 8 ball? So that's it for now. We did a quick preseason wrap. I want everyone to know that we're going to try to start doing live streams on YouTube for important games or for NFL games in the future. So the first game, I believe, is September 12th at 4:30, Giants-Broncos. I am going to be right here on YouTube, live reaction, watching the game. So jump in, join me on the chat. First week of NFL, why wouldn't you want to, chop it up, have a beer with me, watch the game, virtually, of course. And yeah, so stay tuned, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Giants fans, we're going to be here all year long, all season long, talking about what's going on with the Giants. And yeah, let's hope for the best. Until next time, peace.